politic concept, advancing beyond just, you know, looking, wearing the things that we know that identify us, that moves you into a greater level of responsibility for yourself. We can go all the way back to the history. So we need to understand the history of nationality as it was discussed amongst our people and how it propelled up. All the way back to 1856, you had Edward Wilmot Blyden, who was born here domestically, but was a senator in Liberia. Right? So he was trying to show people back then the importance of nationality, and he wrote a whole book on that subject. All right? And then you had the people who came after that, like the Garveys, you know what I mean, who propelled it. Then Noble Drew Ali busted through the gate and started talking about it direct and bringing the lawful and the legal science of what that means in a cultural dynamic and a body politic. And then what we saw in the 60s is our people moving towards trying to figure out the mechanics of it, but they didn't have a lot of knowledge, but it was still moving. And you had Honorable Elijah Muhammad, who gave a context for it with the business structure and the social structure, and then Malcolm X, you know, trying to go to the UN. So we've been dealing with this with every leadership, either directly or indirectly, right, as a part of solving the problem. But here's the issue. We're making it too complex. If you go down to, let's say, New Mexico, there's places in the highway you can drive down, you driving through Native American lands, Navajo, whoever. They got schools, they got other things, they got investment in that particular area. You can go down to Florida, they got the Seminoles. You can go down up to the Dakotas, they got the Sioux, all right? One of the things that we have a problem with is first identifying who exactly we are. All of the misnomers create the confusion and the division. And if you don't know what a misnomer is, it's a name you're calling yourself that's not historically yours. Right. So that leads you to searching for something that doesn't exist.
And while we're on that subject matter, don't lose your thought. Black is a misnomer to you?
Black is a misnomer. African American is a misnomer. What are the other misnomers that people
Negro
use?
colored.
Yeah, Negro colored. Spanish, Latin,
Puerto Rican.
African. Yeah, all those misnomers. All those have no historical context and no documents, historical words that were used to associate with us. All right. So now when you come to the indigenous languages in America, you have terms. You come to the indigenous language in Africa, you have the terms Moor, Muslim, all those things. So we go into those particular things, and we can go, you know, further back. But the point is, we're here now in said 2015 on the Gregorian calendar, 15,101 on the Aboriginal calendar, or original calendar. And what we're saying is, we have enough information. We have it. All right. So what do we do with it? We bring people together and we take the wheel of life, all right, from the first house to the 12th house, and we look at everything that's going on. Right. Defense and intelligence, economics and building, networking and diplomacy, family, arts and culture, health and agriculture and medicinal sciences, the legal aspects and law and justice and how we marry and forensics and how we are born and education and the civil aspects of government, the structural components, how we're going to deal with technology and patent, all those things. We're divesting our energy into colonizers. Right. And by doing that, all of the greatness that we have usually just seeps away somewhere because we're not owning it. Well, so we get one body politic or several units. It could be like 5 of them joints that try to figure out a way, and then they find a way to work together. Right. But we get them, and what we say is, when you invent something, it belongs to the Moorish Science Temple of America. Period. And you as the beneficiary. So now all the money you make off of it, there's no taxes being taken by this entity and that entity and that entity. So now if it is taxed, it's taxed by the Moorish Treasury to bring back finances to the operation of a local, state, or a national government. Now, the reason why that's important is because I heard Noble Drew Ali say we're part and parcel. Am I correct? Partial. Yes, thank you for correcting me. Yes, sir. All right. So, in that sense, what he's saying is, okay, we have our identity as an indigenous people, Moorish Americans, and then we have our identity within the U.S. So now, why can't we do business in the U.S. and have our exclusive things that we do in our body politic? Right. All right. It's a simple equation. Why is the body politic important? Because it closes us off from a culture that's dying. Right. And even though we can still do business and understand the law and understand our position in society and go bank and do everything else we're doing, we can do those things inside of our body politic that's exclusive to the nationals that send it. If I could just say that, if I could say that in layman's English. Yeah, let's break it down. Yeah. So basically, we have our own, not ignoring what's there in place. No, and not saying we're sovereign citizens, not saying we don't got to follow the law. All the stuff that they're going to see on YouTube, if they Google this stuff, just put that down. We live in society. We must follow rules, regulations, and order. That's it, regardless of who wrote it. It's for our safety in the sense of our moral standard will allow for us to perpetuate it without it being an encumbrance upon us. Something that brings us down. It only becomes an encumbrance, and we're complaining about police shooting us and all these other things if we don't have the body politic to close that off. No other body politic, Jewish, Chinese, or whatever, are getting shot 41 times, dude. It's not happening. And the reason why it's not happening is because they have some form of body politic.
Right.
When you are loose cannon out here, the property of the state, and you have no one to look after you, you become undesirable. And then now they can move on you, and the only thing you can do is march and do those particular other things. You can't pull your money. You can't pull this. You can't say, oh, we about to pull these strings, or you just shot one of us. We're coming down to the police station. We shut it. You can't do those things because you're not organized. You get organized for a moment on emotion, and then you go home to the same misnomer application of the fiction, the things that you're doing at home that are not unifying your community.
And now on the other hand, because we can talk about them, but on the other hand, I know, and so the streets need to know that you are actually organizing, I believe it's in September, the Aboriginal Summit.
Yeah.
And instead of coming together, on emotional grounds, hey man, it feels good to be, in the Black Power, and it's like, okay,
no,
now that we're
about
here,
this business.
Yeah, because we have things that are going on within our communities, and if we really want the external policing to stop, the internal policing must begin.
Yeah. Let me talk about some of the things that we're gonna be doing. Right. By 2016, we're gonna have our own city. You're gonna be. I ain't gonna tell you where it's at. You're gonna be to come to our Aboriginal village and go to the city, go eat some food, go get some soup,
black seeded watermelons,
get some black seeded watermelons, and come back to New York. You see what I'm saying? That's the type of stuff that we're talking about. Taking just a small number of people, a few thousand people, and investing in it so that we can do something like that. You know what I mean? Or coming and saying, look, everybody that has some form of body politic that's being injured, let's come together and make this international suit just to put the flames out so they don't bother us. You know what I mean? We don't need licenses and permits necessarily to go out on the streets on our indigenous lands to go participate in trade and commerce. You know what I mean? As long as we're not violating and injuring no one or trying to do anything, they create things for the subjects. You see what I'm saying? as barriers because they don't know that this is their homeland. That's a big point I need to make. Let me phase to that. You are home.
Right.
You're home. Like you're home. That's it. You need to understand that. All of our people who are going by these misnomers need to know you're home. And you're home here, you need to act like you're home. And the first thing that you need to do is clean yourself up morally. Right? Because although we don't equate morality with the success of having money and wealth in the society, because people who are stars can be sniffing cocaine and they could be all kind of other things. If you understand the dynamics of a person who has morality, more than likely they're going to get married. More than likely they're going to get married and take care of their children. More than likely they're not going to be in environments like bars and other places to get into some type of disagreement with another citizen or national. More than likely they're going to have some type of focus where they want the children to get educated in their indigenous systems or in the regular society. All right, so what you're looking at is a mobile vehicle that knows how to navigate itself in a society based on laws, principles, rules, culture, and those things that protect us. So we need to understand that once we come into morality and we're saying, all right, we got a code of conduct. The code of conduct could be the Bible, the code of conduct could be the Quran, the code of conduct could be the Per Rule, but it's a code of conduct that holds you to something. Law is something that is necessary for human beings in a social setting to keep them protected. So when you see the fezzes and you see the kufis and you see the things that people are wearing to represent their body politic, we need to understand that that is a necessity that we have always engaged in since ancient times. That's our culture. And then once we re-embrace those things, life changes for us. Right now, if you look at society, what you have is a really immoral culture, right? That's perpetuating with lots of knowledge. So you know what that makes you? For lack of better words, some people don't like the religious word. It makes you satanic. It makes you the type of person that does not respect the fact that if you injure someone else, as long as you're not getting caught by the popo, the police, or somebody locking you up, you cool with it.
You're like a civilized savage.
Exactly. So all we're saying is, listen, man, everybody needs a system of law. Everybody needs a body politic. Everybody needs an organization, something that they can affect. It's a family that you could be a part of that's going to move you away from all of the misnomers and the things that have been impressed upon us, the behaviors, and then the psychology that somebody has to give you a handout in order for you to be successful.
Right.
So nationality and the body politic is a refinement. It's a home. It's a castle. It's a castle with a moat around it. It's going to put us in positions so that we can go. And if you want to run for the mayor, be the mayor of New York, you go get those 5 indigenous, wherever they are, body politics. We all come back you up. You see what I'm saying? Now, when you get in that position, now you're going to be doing business with us.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's a
That's
simple
what all
thing.
the other nations do.
That's what they do.
Well, Noble Drew Ali had people elected.
Yeah,
Oscar
yeah,
Dupree.
exactly. So now they get into those positions, like Oscar Dupree and other people. They get into those positions, and now we can do business, we can do trade, we can do commerce. You know what I mean? But everything has to have a level of organization to it, and I think our people underestimate the need for systematic organization. You know what I mean?
Which is discipline.
Yeah.
Islam.
Islam.
What about how do we police ourselves? Coming from the Nation of Islam, growing up, then I went to the military for the United States of America. How do we militarize and police our own selves and protect ourselves from outsiders?
Yeah, we have to engage in real estate. We have to have the wealth to engage in real estate. Once you get into a position where you have a body politic, you can look at the universities. I'm in what you call Shaker Maximo, Philadelphia, and you got UPenn, you got LaSalle, you got Temple, you got all of them have their own police. The only reason they have their own police is because they have real estate. They got all these buildings, so now what do they do? They go down to the government and they say, listen, we have all this real estate, we need to protect our constituents. So now they literally file an affidavit. One officer gets whoever will be the commissioner or in their position, he gets that, they go open up the police department. So we could do that within the United States, or if we have reserve land. If we purchase reserve land, there's a way that you can do that. Mm-hmm. You know, you go down to places in Oklahoma and the sheriff is a native. You see what I'm saying? In that reserve land. So we got the duality of both. If we get reserve land, or if we in these open spaces in the cities where we have large levels of real estate, we have something to protect. And then if we don't want to start at that level, we can start at a really basic level. We can start in the basic level just like the FOI and all the other groups did. Listen, wherever you have your temple or your thing there, go out in the community, all right? And then show the example of what it looks like to wear a certain attire because it attracts a certain energy. So when you had the messenger, it was a specific ideology. And then after he passed, his son, and then, no disrespect to the minister, they decided that they wanted to take it in a certain direction, and it had an effect. You see what I'm saying? So when you start, the thing that you got to do is, listen, don't change any of the elders' teachings. Don't do that. So that's why I call it the Aboriginal Republic of North America. Because I'm not going to say it's the Moorish Science Temple or the Nation of Islam and disrespect them because they have something that represents. And if I got to change something, it's got to be something different. I'm not going to disrespect them.
You prefer that have your own,
have my own, and then show the love and respect for them, and take from them as far as the guidance, and be verbal about. Yeah, I borrowed that from the messenger. I borrowed that from Noble Drew Ali. I borrowed that from. We can't change the ideologies because what happens is it confuses people. So now you get branches. And you get it broken up. So that's why people don't see the FOI, or sometimes the Moors have been affected, or the UNIA. We got to recognize that those body politics were meant to be body politics. So they have to become They have to become those things.
Actually, utilize this.
Yeah. So this goes into the last thing I want to talk about is the business side. Mm-hmm. The business side, how to contract. Always got to use examples. Always got to use examples. The slave name, Marcus Counts. That's what I was born as, right? I could go to banks, business. First of all, I created a body politic, so now I can get EINs for any entity, right? So I create a business that was International Society, which is a subsidiary of our body politic. So now I can go into the bank with that, with my IDs, my indigenous IDs, give them the EIN, give them the indigenous IDs, give them the business articles, and I form what's called unincorporated associations. I can get various types of EIN. So now this is business education. Sometimes you might need EIN that's a 98 number. That's from a foreign address. You know what I mean? So now you have virtual offices. Mm-hmm. Like you can literally go online and set up an office in Mexico. A virtual office. And you can use that address to go to a bank to open up an account. As long as you have the EIN number, business articles, and the address. And then you set up a domestic address. That's a P.O. box. Right. That's simple stuff like that. Right. So now you could go in and set up accounts.
Well, if I mean, it appears very simple. This is something that but
we train people on it. Yeah. We train. Right. Look, not only that. See, the thing about it is we train people on it in society. And then, let's say the Moorish Science Temple wanted to learn that process. I come do a one-day seminar, everything on paper here. Y'all got it. You see what I'm saying?
That's it.
Now you want that too? Here. So this is what we're talking about for the summit. This is what we're talking about helping with the Millions March. Yo, let's share some stuff because first of all, you can't be stingy. You know what I mean? We grew up all from the same conditions. Mm-hmm. So we have empathy for everybody that lives in those conditions because we know what it's like to not have water.
Right.
Not to have lights. Not to, you know what I mean? Like, so you don't forget about that.
Not to have heat.
Exactly. So you don't forget about those things. And when you learn something, you have the heart to come share. So my position is we all need to be sharing the greatest things that we have in every field. It could be martial arts, it could be economics, it could be whatever, military intelligence, it could be all those things. We need to get together and learn how to share what we have so we can improve each one of these body politics. Because you can't go trying to tear down the Hebrews, tear down all these different groups, because it's not going to work.
Right.
Everybody has something that they attach to, and you don't know the spiritual reason why in their ancestry, in their bloodline, for some reason, they remember that epic.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's a reason for that. You know what I mean?
The United States and the United States of America, right? Okay, now when I read the definition of corporation, right, it sticks out to me that it's the United States.